If you ever visit the Rock Garden in Aspen, Colorado, you will come across a unique sight, a rock split in two with engraved text in the middle. Get a little closer, and you can read the lyrics from John Denver's Perhaps Love on the right half, and The Eagle and the Hawk on the left. John Denver's sanctuary in the heart of Aspen pays tribute to the premature passing of the folk music legend from the 70s.
Good evening!
On October 12, 1997, John Denver's Rutan Long EZ light aircraft crashed into the waters of Monterey Bay, California, devastating millions of fans and changing the music industry forever. This is the story of the music icon, John Denver. Henry Don Deutschendorf, better known as John Denver, was born on December 31, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico. He was the son of Lieutenant Colonel Henry John Dutch Deutschendorf Sr., a decorated U.S. Air Force pilot. Because of his father's military career, the family moved constantly. John couldn't make any real friends, and his father was an emotionally distant military man. In his biography, John opens up about his father's inability to show love. Growing up alone, the little boy especially wanted love and appreciation, something he could not get from his friends or family. But folk music changed forever when John unwrapped on December 31, 1954, his grandmother's present for his 11th birthday. It was an acoustic 1910 Gibson F-Hole archtop jazz guitar. The discovery of music opened up a new world for John, in which he could express his emotions and find a connection with others. He often spoke on themes of love, nature, and the search for a sense of home. He fell so in love with the instrument that he became good enough to play in some local clubs. In 1961, at the age of 18, John attended Texas Tech University in Lubbock to study a degree in architecture. 2 years later, in 1963, he realized that his dream was to become a music star, so he dropped out of college. At the age of 20, John moved to Los Angeles and performed in countless folk clubs. In 1965, he joined the group the Chad Mitchell Trio, after Chad Mitchell left the group to pursue a solo career. John replaced him and became a part of the group, which was later known as the Mitchell Trio. During this time, John married the love of his life, Annie Martell, and lived in Edina, Minnesota for 3 years from 1968 until 1971. In 1969, a year after moving to Edina, Minnesota at the age of 26, John left the Mitchell Trio to begin his solo career. That same year, he released his album, Rhymes and Reasons, which included the song Leaving on a Jet Plane with RCA Records. This album marked the beginning of his successful solo career. In 1970, his album track Leaving on a Jet Plane reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and John's career took off. In 1971, John Denver's career skyrocketed with the release of his second album, Poems, Prayers, and Promises, featuring the immensely popular track Take Me Home, Country Roads. Following a camping excursion in Colorado, the young artist wrote Rocky Mountain High, chose the state's capital for his stage name, and witnessed his career soar to its peak. In 1974, John composed Annie's Song, a tribute to his wife. As Denver's career was rising, his personal life began crumbling. John and Annie experienced difficult periods in their marriage. After realizing how much they loved each other, Annie and John adopted 2 kids, a boy named Zachary and a girl named Anna. In an interview, Denver openly stated, "At times I've got a really big ego, but I tell you the best thing about me. I'm some guy's dad. I'm some little gal's dad." Still, the young couple faced insurmountable problems. Denver's ego got a hold of him, and Annie said her husband became abusive. As things got worse, the couple filed for divorce in 1982 and split up their property. In a fit of rage, Denver split their bed in half with a chainsaw. Annie later stated that the couple was too young at that time to handle John's increasing popularity. After being single for 6 years, Denver remarried in 1988, this time to Australian actress Cassandra Delaney. They got a daughter together named Jessie Bell Denver. Despite composing For You in honor of his second wife, the couple separated after only 3 years in 1991, and their divorce became official in 1993. Shortly after, Denver's descent began. That same year, the folk star was caught driving drunk. He pleaded guilty and was placed on probation. The following year, in August 1994, John crashed his Porsche into a tree in Aspen, violating his probation terms, and was charged with driving under the influence, DUI. During his trial in 1997, the jury could not agree on a verdict, so the case was reopened. 3 months later, prosecutors closed the case permanently on October 12, 1997. When Denver wasn't busy writing one of his 200 songs or performing, he was busy flying airplanes. His passion for flying was so great that if he had not chosen a career in music, he would have become a pilot. This passion was ignited in 1974 when Denver purchased his first Learjet. In 1976, Denver's father taught him how to fly, hoping his son would choose a career in aviation and abandon his music career. Denver declined to abandon his music career. He was a passionate aviation enthusiast with a collection of airplanes. Denver owned a Christian Eagle aerobatic plane, known for its acrobatic capabilities, and a 1931 vintage Waco QCF biplane. The last plane he purchased was a Rutan Long EZ, an experimental aircraft he acquired in 1997. This type of aircraft is known for its unique design and efficiency. With 2,700 flight hours under his belt, Denver was an experienced pilot, holding certifications for multi-engine land, glider, and instrument, as well as single-engine land and sea operations. Additionally, he was qualified with the Learjet type rating, often flying the Learjet solo to his concert venues. Despite all his experience, on April 20th, 1989, Denver had his first brush with mortality when piloting the Waco QCF biplane from Carefree, Arizona to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Strong gusts of wind took control of his aircraft, making it difficult for him to land. Fortunately, he came out of the crash unscathed. But on October 12, 1997, things went horribly wrong for John Denver. After 2 arrests for driving under the influence and a subsequent DUI trial, Denver reached a low point. In 1996, the Federal Aviation Administration revoked Denver's pilot license due to his failure to abstain from alcohol. Despite this setback, given his naturally adventurous spirit, he remained determined to pilot his new aircraft. When he heard that his new Rutan Long EZ plane, worth $25,000, was ready, he flew from Colorado to Santa Maria on Saturday, October 11th to pick it up. That same day, he made a 30-minute checkout flight and stayed in Monterey. Denver spent his Sunday morning golfing with his buddies at Spyglass Course. However, while they were debating a second round of golf, Denver said, "I'd love to play, but I got a new plane. I'm going to practice my landings and takeoffs." After 3 touch-and-go landings, Denver took off from Monterey Peninsula Airport at around 5 p.m. in his new and freshly painted Rutan Long EZ plane. After practicing his landings, Denver told the control tower that he would continue flying for another hour. The singer sent a signal to the control tower, but it wasn't received. At around 5:28 p.m., the control tower received a second message from the folk star saying, "Do you have it now?" These were the last words the folk star ever spoke before his plane crashed into the waters of the Pacific near Lover's Point. Shortly after the accident, an autopsy was conducted on his body, and an investigation was launched by the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB. However, the autopsy in the NTSB revealed gruesome details. The main reason for the fatal crash was Denver's inability to switch fuel tanks mid-flight. Planes are equipped with switch-off valves to safeguard pilots from engine fires. In the event of a fire, pilots can flip the valve to cut off the fuel supply and locate a safe landing spot. Typically, these shutoff valves are conveniently located for easy access. However, in the case of the Rutan, the handle for the shutoff valve was positioned between the pilot's legs. However, Denver purchased the pre-assembled Rutan Long EZ, and the builder positioned the handle behind the pilot's left shoulder. This placement was intended to mitigate the risk of a gas line rupture in the passenger compartment by routing the gas lines away from it. The fuel gauge was positioned behind the seat, rendering it invisible to the pilot. Prior to takeoff, the mechanic provided Denver with an inspection mirror, requiring the singer to look over his shoulder to monitor the fuel levels in either tank. Denver and the builder discussed the challenge of accessing the switch-off valve handle, leading them to attach vice grip pliers in an attempt to extend its reach. However, their efforts proved futile. To exacerbate the issue, the mechanic rotated the valve so that turning it to the right activated the left fuel tank, adding further complexity. Despite these modifications, Denver remained unable to reach the vice grip pliers positioned behind his left shoulder while secured in the seat. The issue stemmed from the seatback cushion Denver utilized to reach the rudder pedals, which ultimately led to the disaster. The pedals played a pivotal role in the tragedy. Denver flew with the right tank half empty, 12.5 gallons, and the left tank 3/4 empty, 6.5 gallons. As he reached back to retrieve the vice grip pliers, the singer rotated his body 90 degrees. In order to accomplish this, he extended his right foot, inadvertently pressing down on the rudder pedal. This action ultimately resulted in Denver's demise. When he inadvertently pressed the pedal, the aircraft yawed and pitched upward, corroborating the accounts of 20 eyewitnesses in the vicinity of the crash. Denver's aircraft was flying at a mere altitude of 500 feet when this occurred, leaving him with an exceedingly brief window to respond. Subsequently, the plane plunged into the Pacific Ocean. In the aftermath of the crash, divers from the Pacific Grove Fire Department Marine Rescue Team spent 2 days retrieving Denver's mangled body and the wreckage of the Rutan Long EZ. The impact of the crash was so severe that the fiberglass plane fragmented into pieces resembling those found in textbooks, with the largest measuring 2 feet by 5 feet. The 200-pound engine was submerged at a depth of approximately 20 to 25 feet. In addition, an autopsy was conducted on the body of Denver. The autopsy report indicated that parts of his body had been removed from the wreckage. According to the official report, some anatomical parts were missing. In addition, official documents revealed that his remains were found about 150 meters offshore. Routine toxicological testing conducted on Denver's body revealed no traces of alcohol or drugs. However, according to sources, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, had denied Denver a medical pilot's license 7 months prior to his accident because of previous drunk driving violations. As a result, his flying license was effectively invalid, which meant it was technically illegal for him to fly on the day he passed away. Denver's remains were temporarily housed in the Monterey County mortuary while arrangements were made for transportation to Colorado for the memorial service. On Friday, October 17, 1997, hundreds of family members and friends, along with thousands of fans, gathered at Faith Presbyterian Church in Aurora, Colorado to bid their final farewell. The folk singer's ashes were carried across the parking lot, while his music played on loudspeakers in the back. The service began at 10 a.m., and inside the church, 2,000 mourners gathered to listen to the sermon of Reverend Les Felker, a former Air Force chaplain. Remembering Denver, Felker said, "John Denver is a sensitive, caring, gentle, loving man, and that came through loud and clear in all of his music, in his life, and the impact that he made." Tom Crum, one of Denver's best friends, said, "I am so sorry he died, but so very, very happy he lived. Even though I have tears up here, it's a time of celebration for this person's life. He was such a great spirit." After the service, his ashes were scattered over the Colorado Rocky Mountains, his final resting place. John Denver's legacy goes far beyond the music he created. It is a testament to a life lived with passion, both in the air and through his melodies. His sudden passing left a void in the hearts of many, but his music and spirit continue to inspire. In 2014, West Virginia Take Me Home Country Roads was recognized as one of the state's 4 national anthems.